Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment below. And today we're going to have a special Rockstar edition of After the Con with the band Elliot Waits for No One. And before we get started, we are going to see a sample of their new video that has just dropped. The song is entitled Who Am I? And I hope you like it as much as I do.
Is lazy.
Sometimes I really think that maybe I'm just crazy.
They want to hear that reassurance in their ears
And make their problems go away and disappear.
For their lives will
Hi, this is Brian D. Anderson here with another episode of After the Con. It's a really exciting Rockstar episode. I have with me today Elliot Waits for No One. They have a new video dropping on Monday, and they've been kind enough to come here and chat with me. And I also have back Mr. Owen C. Cotter. He is the owner-operator of the Scifiction Network, and Mr. Tim Roth. He produced the music video, and we're going to have a great chat. So, we have Brian Tosh. He is still logging in right now. So, while we're waiting for him, let's go around and start with Miss Jenny. How would you like to be addressed?
Address me as Jenny.
All right. We're going to, Jenny, why don't you tell about what's going on with you, and we'll just sort of move around the.
Well, I am a singer and songwriter for Elliot Waits for No One, and Tim and I and Brian. Tim did the video for our new single coming out, which we're super excited about, and so he's joining with us because we wanted to talk about that, and yeah, so we're really excited to be here. Thanks a lot for having us on.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And since Brian is still in the login stage,
I should be here.
Oh, you are.
I can hear him.
Yeah.
I can hear you. I can't see you.
Turn your camera on, right?
My God. I swear I'm not technical.
That's okay. It's all right. We'll go over to Mr. Tim Roth. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been up to lately?
Yeah, I'm Tim Roth. I'm a music video producer primarily, but I do all kinds of video projects. You know, I do short documentaries, promotional videos, that kind of thing. And I've been working with Elliot Waits for No One. We did a project last November for the Who Am I video, and I presented them with this one, a month ago, and that's where we are. We're trying to get it out there.
That was a cool video too, man. I watched that the other day. It's awesome.
We're admitting Brian once again, and while we're waiting for him, Owen, tell us a little bit about what you got going lately.
Well, I run the sci-fiction channel and all the YouTubes and Facebooks and all that. I also work I'm one of the guys over at McGill Media, so I'm like the VP of entertainment, so I run all that jazz and sci-fi goodness and all that, podcasts and broadcasts and everything like that.
Neat. All right.
We got Brian here. He's joining. It looks like
he's joining us. He's joining us on two different areas, connecting with his audio. It's okay. You know, these kind of things happen.
Triple whammy, Brian. There he is.
Man, I don't know, guys.
Oh, that's all right. If you can't get on video, don't worry about it. We'll pretend we can see you.
So I could go up by Jenny.
Fine.
Anyway.
I'm sorry.
There's a lot-
However y'all want to do it, it's just fine. It's however it works out. And of course, everybody knows I am Brian D. Anderson, fantasy author of the Godling Chronicles, Dragon Vein, Akiri.
The Bard's Blade.
Most recently, the Sorcerer Song series, Bard's Blade being book 1, and the most recent edition being, of course, of Fires, the 2nd edition. And like I said, I'm really excited this week. A lot of people know that I was a professional musician for about 10 years before I discovered that I just really sucked at it. And so this is really exciting for me. All right. No, hey, where's everybody located?
What?
Huh?
I'm in Dork, Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin. Oh, wow. This must
I'm
be
in,
cold.
Yeah.
I'm based in Northern California near San Francisco Bay. Right now I'm in Southern California. I'm on the road, but
Very nice. I used to live in California. I'm in Texas right now, though.
You're in. What the hell are you doing in Texas?
Working on stuff, man.
Oh my God! Well, everybody know I'm in Fairhope, Alabama. And if you ever, it's not as bad as it sounds.
Near the beach, near Pensacola.
Well, it's like
Florida.
what if San Francisco had a kid with Mayberry? It's kind of like the deal there. So, man, so tell me a little. I'm really curious about how like a video and all this comes to be. I mean. I don't even know how that kind of stuff works. So, what's the process going from like I've written a song to I've just shot a music video?
Well, we well, first of all, I have to give a shout out to Tim because it's taken us. We've been musicians all our lives, but it's taken us our whole lives to meet someone quite like Tim.
right.
A videographer
That's true.
that can take our songs and put them, make a visual out of them is crafty and explorative and creative as he does. He's
Or on the same
amazingly-
level of that as we are. So we have taken like a lifetime.
right,
to find
really,
someone like
it
Tim.
has, so.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
high praise, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Incredible.
that particular video was actually
Right. He really
that-
is.
I told them they wanted to do a lyric video, and I told them, if I can pick the song, that I'll do something a little extra. Because when I first heard that song, "You Can't See Through Me," I just loved it. If you guys haven't heard it yet, it's a really evocative, really haunting kind of song, and it kind of immediately gave me an idea for a video. So I didn't really tell them what I was going to do because I had these ideas, and I didn't know if it was going to actually work the way I wanted it to.
Did you do the CGI? Was that all you? You did all the animations?
I created the whole video, but I bring
great.
together the ingredients. There are online vendors where you can get the models and you adapt them a little bit.
Right.
Then you rig them and you animate them in a program called Maya. So yeah, I do all the compositing, I do all the animating.
Plus, it's the backgrounds are live action nature combined with the CGI, of course, right?
Yeah, so the live action ones I shot in the North Bay area. Some of the
Okay, wow.
static ones they're called HDRI maps. It's how you create kind of the visual environment that the characters live in.
Right.
And those are, you can find vendors for those as well. Because I wanted part of the video was to kind of be a journey through the seasons, kind of metaphorically.
Right.
And obviously in Northern California, we only have really one and a half seasons.
Right.
So I had to find these visuals that had snow and autumn and all that. So yeah, there are online resources for all that stuff. But yeah, I see myself more as a director for this one because I gather all the ingredients and then it's putting it all together in the CGI compositing and modeling programs.
So you're getting all this after all the music's been recorded, and you have really no play in the production of the music. You're doing the production of the video, correct?
Yeah, they give me a finished song and I run with it.
To be honest, we had no clue. I mean, all Tim did was ask. He wanted to reaffirm, text us and said, what is the meaning of the song to you guys? And we both gave him our interpretation, which is what he thought. And he just wanted to double check. He's like, okay. And then we didn't see anything until the final thing. And at first
wow.
I was like, well, what is it? And then it just kind of hit me. I said, it had this just this simple beauty to it, the expressionless droid faces and the movements and the ballet dancing combined with the scenery, the colors, the contrast between the music itself, futuristic aspect of the video, and the name.
I love y'all's cover, man.
All kind of just, and it was just like, wow. And then I had to watch it like 5 more times. And it like literally almost kind of wanted to make me.
Yeah, I mean, look, as a writer, you know, I deal with covers a lot, and I just got to say, man, that cover was that was striking. That was
awesome.
You know, that was something that really kind of drew me into wanting to hear what was behind it. You know, I mean,
the cover.
Yeah, the dancing, I guess, android or
robot, android,
Robots,
yeah. It was neat as hell, man. I gotta say, my son, I'll let my son hear it, and he liked it, and he's 17, so that's a good sign.
Very cool song. I mean, I love that song.
Oh man!
I mean, I've heard it a million times working on the video, but I still listen to it. I like it.
It's a very good. It's a beautiful song. I love the way it's like choreographed with the piano, the robot playing the piano, and all the nature. It just really flows well, in my opinion.
So do y'all split up the songwriting duties? Is like one doing the music, the other doing the lyrics, or is it like how do y'all work that?
We really don't have a formula.
The not having a formula is actually our formula. It really is. It's just we just want to write a good song, and however that comes about.
Yeah, it does. Sometimes I'll write all the music and the lyrics. And sometimes I'll write the music, she'll write the lyrics. She sings on one, we sing together on others, or we both write the music together and the lyrics together. And it all just depends on how it happens. It's all a very natural process. We just kind of let it go.
That's cool. So, y'all, I mean, how meticulous are you in the planning? You know, as far as like, are you following a sort of formula? I know some songwriters, especially if they're writing a certain style of music, sort of like follow a basic formula that they're looking at, or does it? So, because I noticed there was a big difference in a different. I listened through y'all's songs, and there was style-wise, what I enjoyed is y'all were doing a bunch of different things. You know, you had like things that were almost like acoustic and string instruments and like almost orchestrated. And you had the heavy stuff, and I mean that's pretty ballsy, man. To go that. You know,
once you're in the industry for so many years, you have people always pushing you to say, okay, they push you and they say, now you're going to write. Now we want to hear more. Now we want you to write more songs like this. So the whole point of us forming out the band Elliot for No One was that we pushed out all those stereotypes and expectations, and we're like, we just want to write music that we can feel. That's a great song that we would want to, you know, that kind of like
matters to us. You know,
it's emotional and it releases like you know what we all have inside of us as like human beings.
Y'all with Sony, right?
What's that?
Y'all are with Sony Records?
Yes.
What are they like, man? I mean, you know, my friend Jacob. I don't know if y'all had heard of him, but he wasn't able to be here today. But he was with Sony for a while. What was y'all's experience like with them?
Well, Dark Star is the main label. Sony and the Orchid platform, or Orchid. Orchard.
Dark Star works through Sony.
Yeah, it worked through Sony. And plus, there's an arm of it that is actually the Universal Music Group. So my personal thing with Sony, like back in the 90s, that's when you asked about styles and this, I have no borders whatsoever when it comes to it. I've been in all kinds of different bands. I was on Headbangers Ball on MTV with a group called Cyclone Temple. If you ever heard of Cyclone Temple, you should look them up. Early 90s melodic thrash, heavy. It was really cool stuff. But when Sony we were on Combat Relativity Records. When Sony came in and took them over, they kind of cleaned house. And my experience with them at that time wasn't that great. But
that was in the 90s, right?
That was in the 90s. The whole industry is so different now. There are no more big labels like that. There's no more, I mean, like money like we used to get back then. It's so different. Sony now, for me, their distribution, the distribution network is really, really strong.
You know, that's what I was going to ask you about because, you know, I mean, I know a lot of issues I know in my field and your field and any kind of artistic field has to do with distribution, and that can be really rough. You know, what I mean,
Oh, definitely.
you know, like when I was an indie author, full time, you know, just doing independent books, it was like the reason you know, you can't ever get in bookstores is because you don't have distribution.
And sometimes they just shelve you as like a one book, and then it's like, you know, it's done.
Yeah, like with now that I'm with Tor, which is similar to what like you say with Dark Star. Tor is the main fantasy arm of Macmillan. So
They do sci-fi, all kind of stuff.
yeah, sci-fi, fantasy, and all that. And through them, I'm actually in the Barnes and Nobles, and I was like, that was super cool. You know,
We've been happy.
Yeah, with having Dark Star is like sort of like the person in front, the person that we can communicate with,
Right.
has probably been the difference of our experience. I've had such a good experience, I think. Probably similar to what you're saying with
Sure,
your
because
Toro.
Jeffrey Swanson, president of the label, he handles like all we have to do is give him the master files, and he makes sure it gets uploaded to all the platforms and into the network and out. And you know, we have an approximate time. Usually, when we have a new single coming out, like we'll probably be asking to do this.
That's
next
cool.
man, with all the play going around, what's gigging like, man? That must be a nightmare. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we were doing a lot of acoustic shows and making good money doing it. Just the two of us, and it's really great. We really love doing it, but we can't really do that anymore. But other than that, for us, honestly, not a whole lot has changed. I mean, besides not being able to play the live stuff, we have a studio in our house, so I collaborate with Michael James, which is Tim's friend, out in Petaluma, California, and Jabin Pinnell in Vibe House Productions in Rockford. So we're here, and I'm working in the studio on new stuff, and we both are constantly anyway. So I've just looked at it. I've tried to, you know, put a silver lining to it and say, well, it gives me way more time to create and spend time really, really on that. Although, you know, there's a little more forest management involved out here as well.
We're still learning
So
about
that's eating up some time, but it's awesome. I wouldn't change a thing. I'm so glad we moved up here.
Yeah. Well, hey Tim, do you you know, you say you do this exclusively? Do you work with any other bands, or are you focused mostly on you know, one project at a time? I mean, I have no idea what it's like to do what you do.
Jenny had her thing that she did, Jenny Frank Beautiful Eyes, which is a wonderful album. Our thing we do together, mainly what we do and she does right now. I do have other projects going with a friend of mine, Todd Wolf, out of Nashville, that I've been friends with since he's been 14. Amazing drummer and all-around multi-instrumental guy. We're doing this cool acoustic thing.
And I know Tim has a lot of
yeah,
different.
I'm doing a thing with a guy named Scott McClellan, which is like an Alice in Chainsy thing. It's really cool. He's
One of my favorite all-time bands right there, man.
Yeah, then you know, and of course my other stuff that I write that's way more folky and Tom Waitsy in a way. So, you know, I try not to even sit down in a day and go, okay, I'm going to write this kind of a song today, because it just doesn't work that way for me. I'll wake up and I'll have something in my head, this melody kind of do as soon as I wake up. Like, I just go down there and I just kind of start, and I just let it happen. And it could be something that's really folky. It could be something heavier. It could be something really wild. We have a couple of really weird tunes coming up for release. One called Crazy Swoon, and this other one.
What genre is that exactly? The crazy one.
Yeah, I just like, you know, I enjoy it. This is all I've ever wanted to do, and
Well, you being a drummer, you know any of the guys that like that are like at PIT, any of the professors or anything like that? I know that drumming community at a certain level gets pretty tight, you know.
What, up where we're at?
No, the guys at PIT, you know, Percussion Institute of Technology.
Oh, I sorry, I wasn't hearing you right. So what was the question? I'm sorry.
I just did. I have a friend of mine that is a professor there, a guy named Blair Schatz.
Gotcha.
And I knew, being that you're a drummer and been at this, you know, and at this a while, and you know, you at the level that you're at. I didn't know if you might know him. You know, he's just a shot in the dark.
You know, who the person to ask that who would be Jeff DeTora. He's our drummer who plays for the Blue Man Group in Las Vegas and the World Tour.
Oh man, I've seen that band. Blue Man was crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never seen those. I've seen them
Oh,
on
it's
video.
awesome, man. It's like got the drums and the acoustic and all, and they have an actual band that plays along with the Blue Man Group. And they have like neon paint and all this crazy cool.
Right. Jeff
Hopefully they're not like Stomp, because once you've seen Stomp like twice, it's like, I don't want to see Stomp.
It's amazing, man. Oh my god, it's like addictive.
Jeff is a band called the Vessi that he's released this thing. It's definitely got a Manson vibe and a heavy kind of Mike Patton, Mr. Bungle kind of thing going on.
Oh, Mr. Bungle! Oh my God, I haven't heard that in a while.
Jeff runs that. They did some big fundraiser in Vegas last night with Stoney Curtis, plays with Dan from that band. So this Jeff plays over there with him and knows him really well too. So that's
What was the
he was
fundraiser? What was the fundraiser about exactly?
doing this thing.
What kind of fundraiser was it?
That's a good question.
Just curious. I mean,
All I saw was telethon. You know, I feel like an idiot now. I don't know.
that's all good. And telethon is fundraising.
Save the whales, save the something. So somebody was getting saved.
Right. Oh, but I mean, Jeff does his own stuff too. See, he's got like the stuff he does with us. He was very instrumental to once we took our thing from pre-production to actual solidifying for the recording at the studio. Like I had ideas that I did that were to a click or maybe with a cajon or a program drum, and then he interpreted his own game. The song "Sick of It All" went in a total another direction. And he added a lot of ideas.
Froze, man. He's froze up.
But
There he is.
You can actually see Jeff in their Megalomaniac video and the Who Am I video. He's kind of featured in both those.
Right.
Cool. Man,
Yeah,
I mean, how long does it take to produce a music video? I mean, is it like?
It depends.
That's all you.
Yeah, and to answer your earlier question, I kind of I work on one project at a time. It's just it's the way my brain works. I kind of need to focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah. Right. Now, this is a question I've been wondering since I saw the sample of the video. Whose way cool truck with 3 on the tree was that?
Very cool guy, Rich Harms out in Petaluma. Nice guy. He's kind of a cycling friend. We have a very tight knit, kind of small cycling community out in Petaluma. Older guys, maybe in his 70s, and he's got this. And we shot a lot of video in his garage. And he had this cool old truck. I said, that's going to be perfect for what I need.
Oh, yeah, I love that, man. I used to have the 69 Chevy.
I don't think the transmission works anymore after Brian drove it.
Here I am trying to lip sync. Tim's following behind us. In front of us. Right there.
We're losing Brian again.
Losing it up.
Up on Jenny's side that was remotely operated. So he's doing that. I'm trying to lip sync the track off of a Bluetooth with this truck with no power steering, 3 on the tree. See the I like missed the stick shift. It's actually kind of funny, but yeah, wow, that was something. And I guess I grinded a few, huh, Tim?
It was fun. It's fine.
Just a little bit.
But hey, they were great people too. Opened up their home. We had dinner there and stuff. It was awesome. Yeah,
it's a cool community out in Petaluma.
In Cave Fight, that when we did it was like the whole time I was like, are we gonna evacuate? It was interesting.
I used to have this old 69 Chevy van that had 3 on the tree like that, and I loved it, man. It would look like the Mystery Machine, except it was a little more beat up.
Eating dry.
Oh.
And then Tim also did our the Megalomaniac video. Now we have a re-release of that. That's going to come up where we resynced up. We put the new audio from the album in where Tim resynced it up. But that
When is that release?
first one he did for
Yeah, that one was really, I just edited that one. They had a bunch of iPhone footage that they had captured during the production, and I just cut it all together. They sent me just a boatload of iPhone footage, and I just cut it for them.
Right.
Very
And try to make it all kind of jive up too, because some of the like.
Did they cancel the NAMM show this year?
Oh, that's a good question.
That,
Did they cancel NAMM this year?
Oh, that's a good question.
good question. I wouldn't be surprised
You ever been to the NAMM show?
if Jenny has.
Oh,
That's
it's,
the one in California.
I went 1 year, and back when I was working at a music store, and my
Like
boss was
Comic-Con
cool enough to let me
music.
go with him. But now a story I heard was that, you know how you get Zildjian and Sabian, that was the people who make the cymbals, you know, they're brothers, and Sabian split off from Zildjian. I heard they hate each other so much that when they're at like the NAMM shows, that they surround themselves with people, so when they're walking in the same area, they don't have to look at one another.
Hilarious. When I was there, I was with a friend of mine, and we were just walking around looking at all the booths, and there was these people that were there, started following. It was early in the week and early in the day, so there wasn't that many people there. So there was like a group of people that were following us, and I was like, and they had masks on. This is a really funny story.
Was this
I was
recently?
like, weird people are following us. Let's get out of here. And I'm like, come on. I told my friend, I'm like, let's go. And he's laughing. He's following me. He's just laughing at me. I'm like, what is so funny? And then we finally got away from him, and he was like,
Slipknot.
he goes, Jenny, that was Slipknot. They were trying to talk. I was like, what?
Oh my God.
That was funny.
That's awesome.
Damn, that would happen. I was like, why didn't you tell me? He was like, because you were just too funny. You were. So yeah.
Crazy. That's cool.
Oh my God, it slipped. Now I had a friend. I went and I got a T-shirt signed by I forget the guy's first name, but Marshall from Marshall Amps.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, somebody stole it. I don't have it anymore.
Aw.
And the guy who he was the owner's son who went, and he had made a George Lynch, one of those the skeleton bones guitars. And he had made it. I mean, he was really good at this kind of stuff. George Lynch was there that year, and he got Lynch to sign it. So that was really cool.
I think that year my buddy
That's
Walter
awesome.
Murphy got his guitar that he has hanging in the studio signed by him as well. That
We
might
were
have been-
over at a Comic-Con. We got to see Coheed and Cambria. They're like a band that have they have a comic and stuff. We got to see them briefly. Those guys were good too. I was over at San Diego last year.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. Like remember when Journey got its own video game? I'm like.
That was way back.
Yeah, of course it does. Back when there were things, there were actual arcades. But
Right.
no, and I think back on that. How freaking famous were they to have their own video
Michael
game?
Jackson and Moonwalker, the old Moonwalker game. He actually
wow.
he choreographed that music video, by the way. That Michael,
Oh, wow.
he was all part of that development. So.
Yeah, so you got any cool stories from the tales from the road?
Brian has a lot more than me.
What that?
Story tales from the
Oh,
road.
Good Lord. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's lots. I'm not so sure. They're live stream worthy either.
Oh, come on.
Hey man, nothing's off limits here.
How'd you guys meet, Brian and Jenny?
I mean, yeah, there was a couple of those Cyclone Temple tours were like wow, because those were long ones too, especially that last one. Everywhere. But you know, those were playing in front of around 8,000 people. You know, it's like that's when it really gets charged. You know, but I gotta say, I now enjoy so much more writing acoustic and laid back music. I don't know. I don't know if it's a combination of age, experience, or whatever. It's just I kind of entered more of this phase where I'm writing more and more stuff like that. That's going back to soul and blues and jazz roots. So, which has always been where I've been at. I mean, one of my dreams was to be in Jesus Christ Superstar. In Syracuse, I ended up playing Honest in Jesus Christ Superstar. That was wonderful.
That's awesome.
I hit a lot of benchmarks through my career, and this one here, I got to say, creatively, I'm happier than I've ever been writing.
Being on the road, I remember when I wasn't even at y'all's level, man. I was just doing like basic nightclub work and shit like that. And I remember being on the road was brutal. It was just.
It's definitely not like what everybody thinks. I mean,
It's
there
lonely.
yeah, it is.
It's
But there are
lonely.
times like when we'd be like, it's daytime, we're in Arizona floating in a pool on a raft, waiting for sound check, and my guitar player Greg would say, "I wonder what the rest of the working world is doing today," and that was all great. And then you get the sound check, but it does become a grind and a job like anything else. And I think you encounter way more crap on tour than you do at a job too. So that's brutal. I mean, depending on what you're doing too while you're on tour, it depends. And back then it was a lot. So,
I remember years ago I was in my first real road band where we actually had a bus and we were going around and touring mostly Southeast stuff. And we had just went from one nightclub, we're headed straight to another one. And we were all of us exhausted because our manager was cheap as hell, and he'd wait till like 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever to check us into the room, so we'd be sleeping on the bus until so we didn't have to pay for 2 nights. So we go in there and we're all passed out on the bed, and it's like about 9-10 in the morning. We just barely started closing our eyes, and he busts in the room and said, "Y'all get up." This is. I gotta. We're all gonna go meet new kids on the block. I swear to God. And our drummer said the most perfect thing. He looked up and he goes, "Man, we're the old kids in the bed."
Yeah. Yeah. You're just the first couple of tours we did when we were seeking deals out and stuff, and some of the bigger stuff we did, we're in this cargo van, and it was an empty cargo van, and we line up the drum cases. We called it the deck. That was our bed, and we put blankets on top of it. So we take turns, kind of 2 at a time, crashing on the deck. And I remember pissing this side of the van. Jam was so bad in that van, and I said, "Just open the side door, man." And those were really rough. The PB crammed it in a van, PB and J tours.
There was a lot of places to play back in the 80s and 90s too. Though. I mean,
You love it. I mean, I still do it.
There he is.
I was freezing up.
Just
yeah,
for a
you
brief
froze there
moment.
for a little bit.
There's a
There,
brief
you
moment.
back?
There he is.
Hi.
I heard most of the story. It was good. It was a good story.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to ramble. I do.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good.
Before Elliot Waits for No One, I was always a solo artist, a singer-songwriter. So I don't have any rock star stories. I was always alone.
My best stories were just being in club bands.
The album's amazing. You guys need to hear Jenny Frank, "Beautiful Lies." It's really fantastic. We do a lot.
I listened to a little bit of it when I heard when y'all were gonna come on, and of course checking your stuff out. Man, y'all are both amazing. I mean, I got to say, I was impressed, and I don't give that kind of praise lightly.
It's good stuff for sure.
Thanks for checking us out.
Well, hey, here's one cool story I think both of y'all like. I had a friend of mine. He worked for the National Football League doing lighting, but they would also do concert lighting when concerts would come to town. And they set up all the lights. Everybody's like getting ready to go for the day, and they're all sitting around smoking a joint, right? And it's a Dream Theater concert, and this other guy in beat up jeans comes and sits down with them, and start smoking a joint with him. And then goes, well, I got to go do sound check. It was fucking Mike Portnoy.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Right? I'm a huge fan of Dream Theater. So I mean,
Dream
I even
Theater.
like the dad that I am, I turned my son onto it, of course. You know.
Yeah, no,
You're
that's
a
it's great.
17-year-old onto, yeah.
No, yeah, they're very tight prog. That's for sure.
Oh,
Y'all been doing music for a long time. Like, what are some like of the bands like most recently you like that are kind of you know not saying big, but like some of the well-known names y'all have worked with or kind of collided with or whatever. Like in a good way.
You mean like influences?
Yeah, somebody like like people that you've ran, like some modern day people that have kind of influenced you in that ecosphere of rock and roll and everything in between.
Well, our band name came from Elliot Smith and
Tom Waits.
And Tom Waits.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, he's been one of my for most of my life. During the metal, of course, all my metal friends made me that I was so into Tom Waits and is whatever because he's been a time and I've always loved this stuff. More modern stuff, although he's still today, which is really cool. But like modern, like heavier bands, like System of a Down a lot. Who else?
I'm a diehard Nirvana
Nirvana.
lover.
She is, yeah.
Just the side.
but you gotta admit, Feels Like Teen Spirit is just a really fast version of Go Go Godzilla.
In a kind of a side question, what do y'all see? What do y'all see like?
Never thought of that. Right.
Brian, what I was going to say was, what do y'all see like after that question, but like progressing forward as the next 10 or 20 years? What do you see like the music scene being? I mean, like you talked about the 80s and the 90s. Do you think it'll be more internet driven or more? I mean, what do you think it'll be like, man?
No doubt about it. It already is. So
I think Tim Roth will be busier than ever because I think it's going to be all internet and video.
Content. You see, back in the day, like it was totally flip flop from what it is now. You had your product, you made your money off of your CD or whatever it may be. That was where the money was made. The tour was just to support that, and then merchandise were a plus too. But now it's just completely the opposite.
Plus, you had like MTV and all that kind of stuff.
Well, it used to be you'd have an opening act and the headliner. Now you got like 10 different bands that do these festivals. That's where they're. I mean, because I remember the days of the super bands when Guns N' Roses all by himself would sell out arenas. You know what I mean? Yeah, it would just. I went to a Motley Crue concert that sold out huge arenas. Back in but that was back when that kind of stuff, when you had the super bands. You know what I mean? I think those days are gone.
No, I have to agree with you. It just seems like that's kind of. I mean, there are some. You have to have like multiple 10 bands together to even maybe get 10,000 people in one spot, like at a festival or something. So, but now you can't even do those. So, the online live streaming thing.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, man. I got 17 cities canceled this past year. During the release of 2 books during the pandemic, 17 cities, because I was supposed to do these conventions and do appearances and you sell books, and that's a lot of way you get your name out there, and all that's gone, And on my 2020 bingo card I have Meteor Strike, and I'm waiting for that.
Man, I hope not.
So Tim, you gotta tell me, man, how did you get into this shit? How did you get into music video production?
Well, I've been kind of my family's kind of in the entertainment industry, so I've been around filmmaking and that since the 80s. But I had a corporate job for about 10 years through the 2000s and got completely away from the creative side of the business. So. But I work with Michael James. He's been a lifelong friend, and he's a music producer. So we kind of developed a collaboration there. You know, bands that he works with, he tries to get them to do videos with me, and I, you know, bands that I work with, I try to get them to do, you know, mixes with him. So we collaborate on a lot of business. But I started doing it in earnest around 2017, just concentrating more on music videos rather than, you know, promotional. I do, like, for Mental Labs and Phoenix Audio, I do promotional videos. But the fun stuff is really music videos. If it's especially a song I like, you know, the stuff I've done with Brian and Jenny, it's really fun. I mean, if it's an inspiring song, like You Can't See Through Me,
Yeah.
that was a labor of love for me. I mean, you know, I didn't make a lot of money on it, so it was kind of, and not, you know, it was something we had agreed on. We were going to do a lyric video, which are fun and cheap and easy to do, but I thought that song deserved something more. So if it's a song that I really believe in, then yeah, it's
I mean, that's great when you can believe in what you're doing. You know, I mean, I personally had to do projects where I'm like, you know, where I'm like just slogging through it, you know, and it's that, you know, at least that is. I tell you what, whether or not you're doing what I'm doing, what you're doing, or if you're painting, or if you're fixing cars or motorcycles, or whatever it is you love doing, if you're able to do that for a living, there's nothing better than that. I mean, I swear to God. You know, I may not have ever been a rock star myself, but I remember playing on stage and doing nightclubs, cruise ships, casinos. I used to love to play live, and I was, for a long time, able to make a living doing it. Man, I'm you know, it was just nothing better. I mean, y'all have any other, aside from your songwriting, do you do, like so my friend Jacob, he does scores for movies. He did the Gotti movie and the Dark Phoenix. He did the trailer for that, and like did a couple episodes of Son of Anarchy. So he's like branched off into that kind of stuff. Y'all ever think about, you know, branching off into anything like that?
Well, we'd love to branch off into something like that. Yeah, we have thought about that.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that would be awesome, right? And you got all the connections. You got a producer sitting right there, and you
yeah. But you know, when I first saw the video, like, because we were expecting a lyric video for this one, for the You Can't See Through Me song, and so Tim was like, he kept on giving us updates. Yeah, it's not going to be exactly what what we talked about, but he's like, just bear with me and just hang in there. And I have an idea. And we're like, okay, that's cool. And then he kept on, like, you know, it was like a weekly update. He'd be like, okay, I'm not done yet, but I'm working on it. We're like, okay. And then he finally gave us the final product, and we're like, oh my gosh,
that's
like,
cool.
The video changed the song for me.
Yeah.
Like, watching the video, it added to the, you know what I mean? Like, that's hard to find. That's a hard thing to do.
Sure.
I was
Kudos to Tim.
done. I was about 90% done with it before I actually asked Jenny if I was interpreting the song correctly. So thankfully, I think that was basically the right track. Because I would have had to do a month of work over again. But yeah.
Oh my God! I bet that was a pucker factor of about 10 that particular day. Huh?
Yeah, when you hear any song, everybody interprets it differently. So she helped me a lot. She gave me a lot of nuance about what kind of the undertones are, which helped a lot with me finishing it and creating the story. But yeah, I really worked in sequestration with that one because I wasn't really sure if it was going to work the way I wanted it to. So I didn't want to hold up. So I just, and Brian and Jenny are great. When they know I'm working on something, they did not pester me once. You know, I told them what I was doing, and they let me do my thing.
That's always good when, like, you let the, you know, kind of your side of things be creative on your own to kind of let something generate on, you know, naturally, you know.
Yeah, I mean, my normal process is bands come to me with a song, and I come up generally with the concept for the video. And people that know me kind of trust me to do that now. So
do you have like a slush? I mean, like editors at a publisher, they'll have what's a slush pile, basically, you know, of manuscripts that they get sent. Do you have? Is that list the same? I mean, do you get like a bunch of bands send you shit and you got to just go through it and see what you like and see what you don't? How does that work?
No, it's pretty, right now with COVID, it's pretty slim. Nobody wants to work in person.
Right.
And everybody, the problem with music videos in general is, money for independence is fairly scarce anyway, but a lot of bands budget for the production for the music. They kind of don't budget for the music video. So everybody wants things on, relatively inexpensively. So it's a challenge. And the other side of that is everybody that, cinema cameras now are very inexpensive. So anybody that has a camera thinks they're a director or a cinematographer. But you're competing with everybody that has an iPhone or, the latest cinema camera. And they leave out the whole craft side of filmmaking.
Oh yeah, everybody thinks they're Francis Ford Coppola, man.
Challenge to differentiate yourself in this business, but so yeah, I'm fairly selective with who I work with now, and I have to like the song, because when I'm doing a music video, it's like when you're mixing a song, you listen to it repetitively for a month. So if I don't like the song, it's hard for me to work on it. So I really
it's like I'm looking at a future version of myself right here.
Is that an alien?
I am.
Nice, that's badass, dude.
You guys would dig seeing this original Telosian.
That's from Star Trek, yeah.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Awesome. Where did you get that?
I found it.
That's from the pilot.
Yeah, the cage, and it was reading the Menagerie Part 1 and 2. That's freaking awesome.
Gotta let your nerd flag fly, man.
You know where I found it? I found this at this little, Wisconsin's full of all these little house tavern bar things. And they're houses from the 40s. And there was this guy, Eddie, of about 4 miles from us, who lived down in Salem. He had all kinds of weird stuff with sale all the time on the bar, and then this just happened there. And I was like, what do you want for that? He's like, I'm like,
that's awesome, man.
All right. Hey, there's a bar in New Orleans you'd love, man. If you like the nerdy stuff like I do, and like I know Owen does, there's a bar in New Orleans that is all about nerdy stuff. They have a room in the back that has tabletop games and all sorts of shit.
Plus, there's the one with the art installation for the Chewbacca sci-fi Mardi Gras parade up there. It was that dog or something like that. Yeah, it's really cool. It's got this whole sci-fi upstairs lounge that you can hang out in with this big Chewbacca mirror, this shrine or whatever.
Oh man. So y'all.
My brother Robert Trock is I don't know, he might be on here watching, I'm not sure. He's probably one of maybe in the world even a collector of all things, monster, Godzilla especially. Nice. So and if you're ever anyone who's been to fests like that, I ran into somebody in down in New Orleans or something. You're Robert Trock's brother. I tried to buy this 8-foot Godzilla off or whatever. My brother knew him and said, oh yeah, I remember talking to him. So he's way into it and has always been into it, especially comics. Did he have a great comic collection? I think he had the first fantastic word at one time too. Wow. And he's always been into it. He still is. And I if you guys would to see his room full of Godzilla stuff.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm a big Godzilla fan myself. I have all the Blu-rays.
And I'll shoot them over to you guys.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
I love your background. At first I thought you were they look so real.
He's in the TARDIS, man, in Doctor Who time. Where, he's flying around through space.
That was my favorite so far.
You have some other ones, don't you, Brian? You have some other backgrounds in there. What other stuff you got?
I do.
Rotate them up.
I'm screwed up here for a second, and I go over to this other thing, and it to see if there is.
You got the one where you're in the
yes.
pub or whatever, the fantasy pub. That one.
Oh yeah, I have that. I have a bunch of these. Sorry, I'm still learning the technology end of this, and I went over and the sound cut out. Yeah, I have. That's you're talking about this one.
Oh wow, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, you have.
Wait, which one is that? Let me see. Oh yeah, that one. That's the one. love it. They got like the people in the background like dancing around and doing all that.
Yeah, this is from the Witcher video game. Oh, so would y'all plan to go back out on tour and stuff to once the COVID crisis ends? What?
As a matter of fact, up here, we're probably doing a lot of like stuff at like wineries and places.
Yeah, come to Door County.
Yeah, and I'm hooking up with other musicians up here where, there might be a couple horn players someone's going to introduce me to, and I'm big on horns, man, too. And,
you said you're doing stuff in Nashville. You're going to be there in April? Because I might be up there in April, man.
No, well, I'm doing stuff with Todd Wolf, my old friend I've known since 14. He's in Nashville. He's been there. He played in all the big. I remember the Woodload. That Hart he played with, yeah. But he's toured with a lot of big people. So I don't know if I'm going to be out there, when I'm going to be out there. We're doing everything remotely, just like I do with everything else. We both use Logic. We just shuffle our.
We're planning on going out there in April 2021 for a big like sci-fi collector expo. Your brother would love that, man.
He was like, wait, what?
I'm going to be. I'm just waiting for all this in so the conventions open back up. I might even be in Wisconsin. I don't know.
Cool.
But yeah, it's.
Just for the peninsula, man, absolutely. So that's where Tim's got to come for the next video.
We're getting his room ready right now.
No, I'm trying to convince Michael to come out. But
I
it's
know.
snowing there, right? Soon? Doesn't.
I've
When
talked
the
to
winter
him.
hit?
With the bicycle map route, did you see that? And I was like, okay, hint.
Oh my God!
The whole peninsula.
Wow.
I tell you what, everybody's gonna. If you're living out and you're not in a major city, you're gonna be glad in about 9 days you're not in a major city because it's gonna be chaos.
What's going on, Brian? What's the latest news you got, man? What do you mean by like?
Just the
election?
Everybody. I'm not getting political. I'm just like, whatever the hell happens, it's going to be chaos.
Right.
And I'm glad I live in a very sleepy little town. I can tell you that much, as opposed to.
Plus, you're on the good side, on the other side of the bridge with all this stuff.
Right.
Well, yeah, and everybody, we tried to time this release. We didn't know to time the video release before this election or after or this or that. It was all we try to get it as soon as we can, and just get it out. There's enough time between the election and people aren't going to care after that, no matter which side of the aisle they're on. I'm sure everyone's going to be fighting that stupid stuff. So, I don't know. We just don't even.
You just can't focus on that too much. You gotta focus on your stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. And especially everybody's so weird about shit, and especially if you're doing things as a public figure. It's like, man, people want you to take a stand on stuff, and I'm like, why do you want me to say something? I'm just a writer.
Yeah, we're artists.
Yeah, who gives a damn what I think? You know what I mean?
No, it's true. Yeah, it's about as far as we go with politics.
I'll take a stand on things I think are absolute rights. I wrote in support of marriage equality, and I'm very vocal about that. But I don't think that's very controversial. Not with people who read.
Happy. I want that for everyone. I want everyone to. I think we all deserve to live a peaceful, happy life.
Yeah,
I think.
But it is a weird time, especially to be released. I had a new release myself, like I said, in August, and you having one right now. It's just such a strange time compared to years past to be doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, how we got to go to South Carolina to visit my parents, and I'm like going, okay, we might have to rent a motorhome. I got to pick my job. It makes the simplest thing that what's going on right now into the biggest ordeal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just traveling across the country or halfway across the country, and it's just
Plus
everything.
the plane flights, man, are even more like just like
I have-
it's not like the same if they wear the mask and all this stuff.
Have you been on a plane since all this happened?
No, I haven't. I'm getting ready to probably though in the following months though.
And my wife's actually flying up to New York to see her father. And yeah, that's it. And my sister-in-law actually works for the airlines. She works for Southwest.
That's one of the better ones.
Yeah,
That's
sister,
the upside. But nobody wants to get on a plane.
well, one of the reasons I started this thing with After the Con was because everybody's so stressed out. And the format that I have where we're just sitting here kind of talking was because everybody's so stressed and so upset and just so tense. And I wanted to have something that felt relaxed and that people could just enjoy. You could enjoy being on. You can, you could talk about your career and what's going on, but you could also talk about, you just showed your cat. You could talk, you could have spent the past hour talking about how much you love cats, and that would have been perfectly acceptable for me. You know what I mean?
Good for ratings too.
Yeah, I didn't figure having a new video dropping. That's what you would do.
All the Mom, we want in on this. Speedy, here's Speedy.
Oh my goodness! Would y'all kind of live out in the country or what?
Oh yeah, totally. We're like in the woods, so in 7 acres of woods.
Oh God!
And yeah, Door County is actually on the right-hand side. So, and we're about there. So, the most southern tip of the peninsula is only like, I don't know, 45 minutes away from us. So it's there's a certain amount, like maybe only 20 to 25 black bear here every year, but there's bobcats and stuff like that too. Tons of deer.
It's like a small town or kind of like.
Virgin Bay is a small town, and it's actually a shipping port
Okay.
for the Great Lakes too. And then we're by there, and then there's all these other little small. You know what it's like a lot actually? It's kind of like Cape Cod, a lot like Cape Cod,
Very
but
cool.
in the Midwest. It really. And
So
it's got
with-
all the little harbor.
So
So
with
it's
more
really
cheese.
cool, and so we're by the water and we're in the. It's really.
So with an abundance of cheese.
Yeah. Cheese, good wine. There's wineries, distilleries. There's all kinds of stuff. There's tons of art. It's a very big art community. So it's not unlike where Tim lives out in Petaluma. The same kind of thing. A lot of wineries, vineyard, art galleries, all that.
And where you're at too, Brian, is you got a bunch of art
Oh yeah,
walks and all.
oh
that.
yeah. But I live in this picturesque little bedroom community. Man, I'll tell you what I always wanted to do. 'Cause I had some friends of mine go down to Napa Valley, and you can take those tours of the wineries, and it's actually not that expensive. You know what I mean, compared to other vacations you can take.
I used to
It's
live in
like-
Ojai. That's another wine area up there in California, out there.
Yeah, well, this one friend of mine, he said that they would, you go to whatever hotel, and there you go on these little boats.
Right.
And you go and you stop at the different wineries. He says you're shit faced by the end of the day, but it's beautiful and it's a lot of fun. And he said it wasn't really all that expensive. It was like half the price of other vacations he had taken,
Right.
and it was so much fun. I'd
You
love
just
to
like
go
bed
do
and breakfasts and stuff like that on the route, right?
But when you tour the distilleries and you start sampling bourbons and single malt whiskeys, that's when you're like, okay, what? But so wait, where are you at? You're in.
I
Alabama.
sampled it. Now it's all
Oh
gone.
Jesus!
You're in Alabama, Brian.
Oh yeah, where the men are men and the cows are nervous.
Well, I know I've been to Bessemer. You know where that is?
I do
yeah.
sorta. I'm across the bay from Mobile.
Yeah,
So
my
I'm
buddy
like-
just filmed a
I'm
movie
like
up
30
there.
minutes. I'm like 30 minutes from Gulf Shores, and if you look up Fairhope, it's right on Mobile Bay. It's just this gorgeous little town.
How did you like Bessemer, Brian? Did you said you went to Bessemer?
No, I said I'm
Beautiful. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
it.
my
And the
buddy
people-
he filmed a Western movie up there last year with Lionsgate's Films with Ron Perlman. He's Manu Inte Raimi. He was a former Star Trek actor, but he said he loved it up there. He comes and visits down. It's about 4 hours from where Brian's at.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Well, you're saying you have the 1.5 seasons. Tim was saying he had 1.5 seasons. Yeah, we got almost summer, still summer and winter.
And it's summer in the winter too, man, because it gets hot there too.
Yeah, down by Savannah, Georgia, and that area is kind of like that.
Yeah, I can ride. Well, at least I can ride my Harley year round, so that's
kind of
pretty
a winter,
cool.
but it was more like summer, cool for a little bit, and maybe 16th of an inch snowfall, and they shut the whole place down. and so, yeah, I know how that goes, man. I've lived in all kinds of climates, and I keep coming back to 4 seasons where I just, for some reason, I mean, I love fall up here, fall into winter, then it's time to break out the sleds and, snowmobile around the trails and stuff. And then spring, everything comes anew again, and the smells of the air, it's just like, the flowers. And then summer here, there's no mosquitoes. It's fun. It's awesome. I mean, there's like, I will walk through our woods. Yeah, I have shorts and short sleeves on. I hold my arms out and stand still. I say, you notice anything? She's like, what? No mosquitoes attacking me. Our old property, like as soon as you stepped out there, do you have sand gnats where you're at?
Oh yeah.
He's got mosquitoes for sure.
My poor wife, she was wearing a citrus perfume when it was like when we were first married, and I took her down here. We're still living in New York, and I showed her this old graveyard that dated back to pre-Civil War. It was just kind of really spooky and haunting. So we get out of the car, and because of the citrus perfume she was wearing, like 3 seconds after we got out of the car, she looked like, remember Pigpen from Charlie Brown? Except insects.
Wow. They bite your scalp.
Oh, yeah. But guys, we are coming up on the hour. So before we go, I want everybody to go around, and I want you to tell us about what you're doing and tell us about what you got coming out and all that, and then we're going to sign off. So, Jenny, why don't you go first?
I am Jenny Frank, and I am a singer-songwriter with Elliot Waits for No One, and we have our premiere music video is coming out on scifiction.com tomorrow. I'm excited about it. You can't see through me. Directed by Tim Roth, right in the lower right-hand corner there.
Bottom, upper right.
Right. So I'm Brian Trock. I'm also singer-songwriter with Elliot Waits for No One. Acoustic guitar, bass, I don't know, all kinds of instruments. And we have our video coming out, as Jenny said, tomorrow, so you can see through me on scifiction.com, directed by Tim Roth. Check it out. I think you'll amazing.
Very cool.
Follow up on Maniac, which is a re-release of the studio audio, and I have a single that's finished and mastered, and I have yet to get over to Tim, which I'm hoping a really great concept for, which I'm sure he will. We have that single coming out, and then probably we're going to start just releasing singles for thereafter. We're going to do like grandiose album like we did again. Maybe start singles out.
But tomorrow you can see me on scifiction.com. We got to make sure to be there.
As usual,
You gotta be there. It's gonna be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and Mr. Tim Roth.
Good town.
I've got so we've got the video dropping tomorrow, which is exciting. And I'm in progress working on 4 videos for a Michael James album. That's, I don't know when he's going to release it, but yeah, we're developing concepts and looking forward to working with Brian and Jenny and Elliot Waits for No One again soon.
Awesome. And Mr. Owen Cotter.
Well, you just find me on @scifiction on Facebook, @scifiction on Twitter, and you can check out our parent company @GoMcGill on Facebook and GoMcGill.com on the interwebs. Awesome.
And of course, I am Brian D. Anderson, author and host, and I'd like to thank Jenny, Brian, and Tim. And do check out Elliot Waits for No One. I have checked it out, and they are awesome. And I'm not just saying that. They were really, really good. I say so, and my 17-year-old son says so. So check them out. And I want to thank Owen and Tim and Brian and Jenny. This has been so much fun. And until next time, this has been After the Con.